Welcome to my channel, and this will be a review of the Dangerous Power G5. Now, if you see my hand going over here, I've actually got a little outline that I'm going to flip over to make sure that this review is organized and keeps on track and you don't get a lot of junk in between. First of all, let me just say, this is not a shooting video, so do not think that this is or going to be a shooting video. There are plenty of videos out there and you can go check them out. I will also make sure to say that this review has a lot of information that was also provided by Jason Wright on YouTube, and I will put a link down below so that you can get to his page, because he has some good shooting videos. He's got a couple maintenance videos and things that will be very beneficial to you. Now, what you get when you open up the box, you get the marker right here. We'll set this over here. Take out the insert. Just inside, because I've played with this gun already, this wasn't the first thing that came out, but you got the manual that is full color pictures, diagrams, and everything. Now there are one or two errors in this manual. Jason Wright actually covers those, so make sure you go check those out. They have to do with the programming and the tournament lock switches. So make sure you go check his page out. Of course, barrel stock. You do have to have that for all your guns, so make sure you get that if you don't already have one. The barrel. And you get a nice plastic case for your parts kits. Now there's a few extra things I have in here already so that I may have these available for me, but you get your DP40 lube, some screws, some springs, and some other odd and end things here that you'll need to take care of the gun. You get your O-rings, and you got quite a few in here. That's actually a very good job compared to I have a Spider Extra. And then I actually keep some batteries and a little bit of maintenance stuff right in here with it. So set this over here. And then you also get this really nice Allen key set that comes with it. Okay? And then I also have an additional Allen wrench key that I have, and I'll explain what that is here in just a couple minutes. Okay? Now, whenever you do anything, I always recommend that you have any kind of maintenance or any work on there, have a towel down. I didn't grab a towel for the video, so I'm just going to use this little foam piece that came inside the Dangerous Power box. But always make sure you work on a mat or a towel or something, and you always keep your parts within that towel. That way you don't lose anything. I've seen a few friends and some other videos where people have done maintenance and they've almost lost a piece because they were doing it on the carpet and the screw got lost in the carpet. So always make sure you have a good area. Okay? Now I'm going to go over the gun parts. I will say this again. Jason Wright's video, he does a very good job talking about a few of the maintenance stuff that I highly recommend. I'm definitely going to be talking a lot of that. So, now, going back to the marker itself, we're going to work our way down here from, so I put in with feed neck, going down here to the ASA. Okay? Now, clamping feed neck could be a little bit better. This little clamping part right here, there you go. This right here, it's not bad, but it feels like plastic. I'm pretty sure it's not. It just feels that way. And I feel like that if I bent this too far, I could easily break this. Now, maybe that's just my inexperience. Maybe they're all clamping feed necks feel that way. But I felt like it should feel different. It shouldn't feel like plastic to me. However, I will say it does hold the hopper really well. I have accidentally hit this little lever on my pants or on my harness and it popped open. The hopper does not fall off. It does stay in. It just spins. I'm sure some of you have probably had that happen. but just, you know, turn it around, clip it back down, and you're good to go. But that rarely happens, and that's only because I hit it on my leg. Okay, and next, right inside here are your eyes and the detents as well. And the only issue that I have found as far as the maintenance goes is getting the eyes back in. Sometimes there's a little right back here, and I'll try to use this big one right back here. There is I'll use a pin right behind this grip right here. There's a little spot where this has a little tab that fits in there, and then you push this part down. The problem that I found is that little tab sometimes pushes the cord on the eyes and pops the eye out of the little socket that's supposed to be in. Just annoying. It's not hard. Usually you can take like one of the smaller Allen key wrenches, hold it down, hold down the eye up here, and just slam that down real quick. It's very rare that that happens, but I have been known to hit that cord and it pops off, and then I just keep having a habitual problem with that while I'm doing that particular maintenance. So just something to keep in mind. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans, but it would have been nice for something maybe a little bit more room right here, just so that that little tab could fit in there without hitting the cord. Okay. Next, I'm going to go into the back and the bolt, and what I'm going to do now is get this pulled out. Wrong one. There we go. Okay, there's that. There's that. So, here's the back, here's the bolt, and that's all there is to the internals right in this part right here. Now, what you want to lube in a general basis is you put a very light lube. Let me pull this a little closer here for you. Put a little light lube here and a little light lube here, and then you're going to lube right here on this part, and then there's a little O-ring right here. Let's see, let me switch my hands. There we go. Right inside, right here, and there's the pin right there. That you'll want to lube just a little bit as well. Now, that's for just the general, when you do the maintenance and you are ready to put this all back together. There's one little tip I will add that Jason Wright talks about in his videos, and I have actually seen some pictures on PB Nation, and I've seen some blogs where some people talked about this, but they get scratches right here, and you can see scratches in their gun just inside right down there. And I don't have that yet. I've played with the gun several times. I can't speak to what they're doing and what those other people are doing and not doing, but according to Jason's video, you heavy lube this part right here. Now when I say heavy lube, I mean you don't have to coat it and it to be solid white. Just put a heavier lube than your normal lubing of the bolt. And this is a little bit vulgar, but you're going to take that piece, and inside here you're going to push it in and out. And there's a couple O-rings on the inside that need to be lubed, and according to Jason, that's the best way to lube them. I have no doubts. I've done that several times. I have no scratches. My gun looks flawless. It's operated flawless with that regard. So that's my only tip as far as this goes, is that if you have scratches down there or down here, I don't know how you can fix that inside. I think that's just part of damage, but you can buy the new bolt. While I'm on that subject, I was just this week on Dangerous Power website, and they do have replacement bolts, backs, detents, springs, everything. They have the O-rings. They have it all on there now. They went probably about a month or two, maybe even longer than that, where they didn't have that stuff on their website to purchase. They've got it all there now. So if you're looking for that stuff, go check it out. They got everything there. Okay. Then next is going to be the regulator. Regulator is pretty easy to dismantle. You take this off. Now this is where this special Allen key that I bought, which this is a 5/16 Allen key wrench. Okay, this does not come with the kit, kind of a little disappointed in that, but at the same time, when you look at the size of this compared to the largest one that you get with the kit, I can kind of understand why they don't do that. It's a big key, and it's big to get into the box and to put with the kit. But in order to take this regulator apart, right up here, the book talks about using an Allen key wrench. I don't know if there's a better way to do it. I actually happen to have an Allen key wrench at 5/16, so I went ahead and just threw it in my box so I'd always have it with my gun. So make sure that if you don't have one or you don't get one, go get one, so that you can take this apart when you need to. As far as how often, there's a lot of theories out there, depending on how much you use the gun. If you use the gun once or twice a month, maybe once a year, you maybe need to take this off, clean it, lube it. If you're out every weekend, especially if you're a tournament player, even if you're a woodsball player, if you're out there throwing a lot of paint through here and all that kind of stuff, you might want to do this about every 6 months. That seems to be the norm out there with regards to the maintenance. Okay. Next is the trigger. I personally like the trigger. I have yet to adjust it. I don't see any reason for me to adjust it. But in case you were curious, and I don't know if this will show up very well, so I apologize, but right here and right here are two, and then there's two in the top. Looks like you might be able to see some of that there. Those are 4 adjustments to this trigger. Like I said before, I've had no reason to have to adjust it. I like the way it feels as is. But if you're experienced enough to adjust the trigger and know what you're doing, by all means do so. You might be able to get some trigger play in this that you're looking for. Okay. Now, next, grip. I do like the grip. It's actually got a really good feel to it, and I've got no problem just holding this in my hand, and then overall the gun is a fairly light gun. So with the grip being comfortable and the gun being light, it's easy to hold, easy to maneuver around. You know, when you're on the field, just move around. It's got a good feel to it. Now, right inside here is the battery, and you actually take it, making sure I get this right. Yeah, take it apart over here, and the battery is right here. You've got your locks, your tournament locks right here, and then all your board and all that's up here. One little tip I have about the battery is that, actually a couple tips. Make sure you take your battery out. When I first bought this gun, just to kind of test it out, I fired it in my backyard, and I left the battery in here, and then about 2 weekends later, which is a long time, I admit, but 2 weekends later I went out and actually played, and the battery was dead. So these boards, and I don't know if this is typical with guns, this is my first electronic gun, so I apologize for not having the experience with other guns to really give you a good review of this part, but that's kind of a disappointment, because I've got other, like I got tools and other electronics where if it's not on, the battery's not being used. So that's kind of a disappointment as far as I can tell with other electronics, but once again, this is my first electronic marker, so I don't know how important that is or how frequent and common that is with the electronic guns. So make sure you take the battery out after every play. It'll make your battery last longer. That being said, definitely use high quality batteries, because if you use like rechargeables or use low quality, you're not going to get an all-day performance out of the gun. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and jump down here to the ASA. First of all, we got the lever here. I've never had any problems with the lever. It stays pretty tight on there. I've maybe hit it once on a pants leg, but that's very rare. Now my lever it's pretty good. I don't know if I need to change it or anything. I have no reason to. But if the lever feels really loose to you, maybe I've heard a few people talk about this. There's a little screw right there. Just pin again. Screw right there. that you can tighten with an Allen key, and if you just need to tighten that up some. Speaking of tighten up, make sure that whatever you do when you buy a new gun, you always make sure that all the screws that hold the gun together are tightened. Now you don't want to strip them, you don't want to pull them too tight, you just want to make sure that they're snug. I did not do that with this gun. I did it with my previous gun and just brain fart, didn't do it with this gun, and when I was out trying to play, the top part of the body started to come off the grip and trigger frame, and I caught it in time, but I had to leave the field, had to go to the staging area, and I had to tighten up, and I hope you can see this. There's a screw right there, and then if you flip it over, there's a screw right here, and those are the two main screws that really tighten this down. I just had to tighten those down. It didn't take me very long. I got back to the field, and I was able to play pretty quickly. So whenever you get any gun, always make sure that the gun, all the screws are tight. Once again, you don't want to strip them. You just want to make sure they're nice and tug. Okay. Now I'm going to move to the, move this in close right here. We got the power button. Here's the button. Here's the little light. I'm a little bit disappointed in this. To turn on and off, you hold the button for on, hold the button for off. I won't go into programming. Go check out Jason Wright's video. He's got some good ones about how to program. I actually basically saved his video so that I could learn how to program my gun, because he did a very good job explaining it. Now, if you're out on the field, you press the power button once to turn the eyes off. Press it again to turn the eyes back on. Why this is important is, if any of you have been to the field and you've tried firing the gun, and once you got the hopper on and all that, and for some reason it won't fire, gun's on, hopper's on, everything seems to be fine, it won't fire. I don't know if this is a flaw with the gun or if this is user error. Could very well easily be a user error. But I found that if I turn the eyes off, I can fire a couple shots, I turn the eyes back on, ready to go. I have no more problems. So that I may be doing something wrong, and if you all know what I'm doing, feel free to comment. I wouldn't mind knowing if I'm doing anything wrong, or maybe that's just a flaw with the gun, but it's a very minimal flaw if it is, and easily fixable. That being said as well, the eyes, which for those of you who are probably experienced, probably already know this, I did not, but the eyes do need quite a bit of battery power, apparently. In my most recent video, RP outing 41313, go check it out. Toward the end, on the back side of the fort, you'll see that I'm looking down at my gun, looking down, I'm trying to fire, and I'm having some firing delays. I realized at a later date that my battery was starting to die, and it wasn't reading, the eyes weren't reading it right. So on the back side, when I finally figured it out, I turned the eyes off, and it fired like a dream. So if your battery gets low and you're in the middle of play and you're having some delay, turn the eyes off. That should get you through the game, and then change the battery out right after the next game. Okay? So that's a little tip apart as far as that goes. Then when you talk about the light, I'm a little disappointed in the light. It is hard to see in sunlight. If you're indoors or it's an overcast day, easy to see, no problem. If you got nice bright sun, hard to see. Now that being said, you can easily cast a shadow with your hand, kind of like this, and you can see the light very easily. It's not like it's impossible to see, it's just harder to see. So I'm a little disappointed in the light. I figured the light could have been a little bit better, but that's what we have. But I can get over it pretty easily. The solenoid, which some of you might be interested in, is right up in here. I have not touched the solenoid. I plan on not touching the solenoid. I don't know enough about it. If I have to, for any reason, touch the solenoid, I'll probably be contacting Dangerous Power or finding a tech, someone at my local field that could help me so that I don't mess up the gun or mess up the settings. But if you're smart enough, it's right up here. Once again, take this screw off, pop the top off, you'll find the solenoid right there. As far as programming, I kind of touched on this earlier. Make sure that you go check out Jason Wright's video. I think he does a very good job explaining it step by step. I'm not going to waste your time with it. Just that there is a couple errors in the instruction booklet that he covers, so make sure you check that out. One of the things that I did, well, in the instruction booklet, I find hard to understand in my opinion. That's why I liked when Jason did that video, because he kind of dumbed it down and made it easy for me to understand. And based on Jason's video and the box, I created this little color code and instructions right up here at the very top that tell me how to program my gun. That way, if I forget or I don't have access to the video, I can program my gun. So I would highly recommend, if you don't have something like that, make sure you do that. It's always good to have a little cheat sheet, easy, something to grab and go. And now personally, I have reprogrammed my gun to set at 12 balls per second. I've kind of seen a lot of videos out there that seems to be the norm around the country. Some people have full auto that do a lot more than that. I don't find that gives them any more advantage than I do at my 12 balls per second, but I will say the gun does come preset at 13 balls per second. I just felt the need to do 12 balls per second. Now, as far as the parts diagram that are in the book, it is very, very detailed. You really get a nice breakdown of the gun as far as a picture goes. So check that out. I thought that was very, 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 very good. On top of that, right inside the little box that they give you with your kits, right here, they also have a detailed list of the parts and what they are and how many you get and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually important too, because if you need to get new parts, for the sake of the conversation, you have this gun for several years and it gets discontinued, you can actually contact Dangerous Power and say, hey, I need this part number, and they should be able to find it for you. And now, like I said before, this is not a shooting video. Go check out Jason Wright's video. He actually does a really good shooting video with different barrels, with a stock barrel and other barrels, which I thought was very, very impressive, to show you the difference in the barrels and the performance of the gun. Now, I will say, well, with this barrel, I'm happy with the barrel as is. I've got a really nice tight cluster, and it's probably about, I'm going to say 7 to 8 out of 10 balls are going to hit within the target area of what I'm shooting. Like I said, this is a stock barrel, but Dangerous Power does give you a good quality barrel, I think. I mean, it's probably not a $150 barrel like a Fiber Wind or something like that, but it's a very good barrel, what you get. And if you're a budget baller and you're trying to get a good gun and you save your money up for this gun, I don't think you'll be disappointed with a stock barrel. I think you'll be competitive. That being said as well, I was probably about 30 yards away in the most recent video that talked about the RP outing, and there was I was shooting at somebody in about a 2 foot by 2 foot window. I shot somebody through that window from 30 yards away, roughly 30 yards away. I didn't go out there and measure it. I didn't walk it. I'm guesstimating. Okay, but here's the point. I saw someone through a small window. I was able to shoot them, and I think that's to the performance of the gun and the quality of the barrel. The barrel, like I said, I think it's a good barrel for what you get, especially if you're a budget baller. I can't afford to spend a lot of money on a barrel, so I'm very happy with the barrel that they sent with me. To compare, I have a Spider Extra. I actually did buy a barrel for that one. I got a CP1 piece. It was like $30, not too bad, and it did improve the performance of the gun, but it's nowhere near this gun here. Now, as far as performance overall, very good. I have not had any barrel breaks or chops yet. Statistically speaking, that's bound to happen. That's just paintball. That's just paintball markers. I've seen so many videos and YouTube and PB Nation and PB Riot and all these other blog sites and forum sites and all that that talk about how they have a $1,000 gun and they still get barrel chops and all that. So it's bound to happen at some point. I think that's statistically just going to happen. But as of yet, with all the videos that you can see, I didn't have one barrel break or chop, which I think is a testament to Dangerous Power and the quality that the gun that they created. Speaking of The quality, it's a good tight gun as far as size. Even with the barrel on and the tank, it's got a small profile. So if you're a CQB type player, which if you're new to paintball, close quarters battle, um, you're going to have a good advantage. You're not going to be at a disadvantage. The gun is light. You can almost treat it like a pistol and kind of peek around corners. But it does have a nice tight feel for those close quarter battles. And of course, I've played on open field. You can see the videos. Its performance is very well there. So the overall rating of this gun, that is, I'm going to say a 4 out of 5. The battery thing, which may be typical, but for me, the battery thing kind of disappoints me that I have to take time before I go and play, open this up, put the battery in, and close it up, and then I can go play. I can't just grab my gun, throw the barrel on, and go. I have to take some time, which is maybe typical. So if this is typical, I apologize for griping about it, but that's just my opinion. It would be nice to grab the gun, go play. But that being said, that's my overall rating. I have no, if I had to buy this gun over, I'd buy it over easily. Easily. Very nice gun. Now, when you're out there playing, make sure that you turn off your gun before you leave. I accidentally shot my foot once. It didn't hurt, but I wasn't paying, I was getting my barrel sock out of my pocket, and I had the gun pointed down toward the ground, and I shot my foot by accident. So if you get hit out, all you got to do, I mean, you can easily do this with one hand. You just hold the power button for a couple seconds, let go, and it's off, and then you can put your barrel sock on or whatever you need to get off the field. Make sure you take out the battery out every time after play. You don't want to waste your batteries. Batteries are expensive, especially the 9 volts. Make sure you just take that out every time. Preferably, after you're done playing, clean your gun same day. Lube it up, clean it out, wipe it off, make sure it's nice and clean. Clean gun is a happy gun, and it will fire for you every time, and it will perform flawlessly. That being said, sometimes if it's a late day or you're tired, you're not going to clean it. Make sure you clean it by next day. You don't want to leave paint in there too long. Not that it can't be cleaned out, but the sooner you do it, the better it's going to be for your gun and the performance and the longevity of your gun. Once again, I want to give credit to Jason Wright's video, so go check out his page. I'm going to put his link down below. I've also talked about a couple of the forums and stuff that I'm a part of. I'm going to highly recommend this PB Riot. In my opinion, the guys at Hustle Paintball control PB Riot. I've seen them, or I haven't actually seen them, but they've got a section where they ban people, and they kind of give a reason why, and I like that because people are spamming on PB Nation all the time. You get people who are disrespectful, or they're just plain hateful, and that's because they want to be, and that's fine. But on pbriot.com, they don't allow that stuff, and that makes me very happy as far as a player. I like to get on there, I like to voice my opinion, and I like to get constructive feedback. Some people agree with me, some people don't, and that's okay. And they say, I disagree with you for this reason, or I agree with you for this reason, and they give constructive criticism. So please go check out pbriot.com. It's Hustle Paintball. Very good forum, a lot of great guys on there. You can ask any question, tech, mods, general questions, off-topic questions. They've got a really good site. Go check them out. And that being said, I really like Hustle Paintball. I've bought several things from different companies before. They have done an amazing job with customer service. So I personally want to just give them props where it's due. Go check them out. If you find what you need, a lot of times if you find a price cheaper somewhere else, they should match it. They have a matching policy. So give them a chance. Give them a chance to earn your business. Let them show you what they're made of. They will not disappoint you. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. If you have any recommendations, please respond down below. If you have any comments or I missed anything, please respond down below. I will probably do another video update review of this gun, especially if I have a few things that change, just to kind of keep it up to date and so that you know what's going on. Thank you for tuning in.